$90,000. That is the cash a veteran with a paid-down home can pull out at VA loan terms, and it is the one move on the VA menu that nobody talks about. Most veterans think their home loan benefit ends the day they buy the house. It does not. There is a refinance the VA backs that hands you your home equity in cash, and in some cases lets you borrow against the full value of the house. But there is a string attached that the lender will never lead with, and getting it wrong turns a smart move into the worst financial decision a veteran can make.
I'm Jasmine, and the thing that pulled me into the research here is the name. It is called a VA cash-out refinance, and the records on this go back to the original loan guarantee. It is the only door the VA loan gives you to your own equity, no home equity line, no second mortgage, one door.
K here, and I want the number that matters. The headline is up to 100% of your home's value, and for a disabled veteran, the VA funding fee that normally rides along just disappears. Kim, you have been sitting on the question the comments keep asking, so go ahead and put it on the table.
I have. The VA's own page lists the uses in plain words. Things like paying off debt, paying for school, and making home improvements. So the benefit is real and broad. But here is what a viewer named Marcus wrote in. If my house is the collateral, what is the catch? And who should walk away from this?
Hold that exact question, Kim, because it is the whole back half of this video. By the end, you will know whether this is the smartest $100,000 you ever move, or a trap dressed up as a benefit. Coming up, what cash out actually is and who qualifies, the dollar walkthrough, and the catch the lender never leads with. The difference between those two outcomes comes down to one number that most people never run.
A cash-out refinance replaces your current mortgage with a brand new, larger one, and the difference between the two lands in your bank account. That is the whole machine in one sentence. You owed $180,000, you take a new loan for $270,000, and $90,000 becomes yours to spend.
And the VA actually splits this into two flavors, which trips people up. The user guide calls them Type 1 and Type 2. Type 1 is when your new loan is the same size or smaller, you are just moving into a VA loan, no cash changes hands. Type 2 is the one everyone means, your new loan is bigger and you walk out with the difference.
So Type 2 is the cash machine and Type 1 is more of a refuge. Let me ask the beginner question. If I already have a regular bank mortgage, not a VA one at all, can I even use this?
Yes, and that is the underrated part. The VA lets you convert a non-VA mortgage straight into this loan. So a veteran who bought with a conventional loan years ago, never touched their benefit, can roll into a VA-backed loan and pull equity in the same move. Two birds, one closing.
Now the qualifying side, because this is not a giveaway. To get one, you need three things: a certificate of eligibility, satisfactory credit, and enough income to carry the new payment. The VA's page says it in plain terms: you meet VA's and your lender's standards for credit and income.
So it is underwritten like a real loan, not rubber stamped. The distinction matters more than it sounds.
Exactly, Kim. Everything in this episode lives on rung 8 of the claim ladder, the rung we call extend. You already earned the loan benefit. Rung 8 is where it stretches past the purchase into the equity you have built.
And here is the number that surprises people. The VA program allows up to 100% of your home's appraised value, 100%. That is more than almost any conventional cash-out will ever touch, where 80% is the usual ceiling.
But read the fine print I keep flagging. The VA allows 100. Your lender sets their own number, and most of them stop at 90%. So plan around 90 and treat the last 10 as a bonus you have to shop hard to find.
That gap matters. On a $400,000 home, 90 versus 100 is $40,000 of access. Worth calling 3 lenders over?
So picture the whole shape. Cash out is the door, Type 2 is the cash. A COE plus credit and income is the key, and the wall is wherever your lender decides to stop. Next, we have to clear up the thing that wrecks more veterans on this topic than anything else, confusing it with the other VA refinance. Real quick, because this next part matters to you. If any of this is helping, tap that like button, then hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next one finds you. Both are free and take about a second, but they tell the algorithm to show this to one more person who needs it. Here is the mix-up that costs veterans real money. The VA backs 2 refinances, and people apply for the wrong one. So I want to put the choice on the table and let 2 of you argue it out, because the right answer depends entirely on what the veteran actually needs. There are 2 options here. The cash out pulls equity but runs full underwriting, while the IRRRL just drops your rate with almost no paperwork. Kai, you live in the numbers, so make the case for when cash out is the smart call.
Cash out wins the second a veteran is carrying high-interest debt. If you have $20,000 on cards at 22%, pulling that into a mortgage near 7% can cut the interest by 2/3. The IRRL cannot do that. It cannot give you $1 of cash. For debt consolidation or a real home repair, cash out is the only tool that fits.
I have to push on that kindly. The IRRL exists for a reason, and the reason is cost. No appraisal, no income docs, often no credit pull, it closes in under a month. If a veteran just wants a lower rate and does not need a single dollar of cash, sending them to a cash out is making them pay for an appraisal and full underwriting they never needed.
Fair, but the IRRL cannot touch a conventional mortgage at all.
That is true, and it sharpens the line rather than blurring it. IRRL is VA loan to VA loan rate only. Cash out is the one that converts a non-VA loan and the one that pulls equity. They are not competitors, they are 2 different keys for 2 different locks.
And there is a quieter third option you both skipped, which is do nothing. Leave the loan alone. Kai, when does the math say leave it?
When the new rate is not meaningfully lower and you do not actually need the cash. Every refinance resets your loan clock and stacks closing costs. If you are 8 years into a 30-year loan and you refinance into a fresh 30, you just signed up to pay your house off at age 70 instead of 62. That is a real cost, even at a lower rate.
So the honest synthesis is a flowchart, not a winner. Need cash or converting a non-VA loan, cash out. Only want a lower rate on an existing VA loan, IRRRL. Neither is clearly true, leave it.
That is the sourced verdict, and I will sharpen it. Cash out is not better than the IRRR, and it is not worse because it is the only one of the 3 that gives you cash, and that single fact decides it. If you need the equity, this is your tool, and if you do not pay for it. Let us put real numbers on a cash out next, because the size of the prize is bigger than most veterans guess.
Let me run you through a real one because a number you can follow beats any rule. Picture Marcus Webb, a 46-year-old Army veteran rated 60%, living in Killeen, Texas. He owns a home now worth $300,000 and he still owes $180,000 on it.
So Marcus has built $120,000 of equity. But cash out does not hand you all of it. The lender caps the new loan at 90% of the appraised value, and that cap is the first line on the receipt.
Let me put the actual numbers on the board, one line at a time. This is exactly how the closing breaks down. Top line, the new loan is $270,000, 90% of the $300,000 value. First thing it does is pay off the old $180,000 balance. That alone leaves $90,000 of gross equity freed up.
And watch the next line, Kai, because Marcus's rating is about to do something quietly powerful to that number.
It does. A cash-out funding fee is normally 2.15% on first use, which on this loan would be about $5,800. Because Marcus draws disability compensation, that fee is zero. Wiped out, just for being service-connected.
So the only real drag left is ordinary closing costs, the appraisal, the title work, the origination fee. Call it $6,000, and on a VA cash out, those can come out of the loan proceeds instead of your pocket.
which lands Marcus here. $84,000 in hand at a mortgage rate with no funding fee. That is the net after the payoff and the costs. And that is the number a veteran needs before they ever say yes.
And notice what the funding fee exemption did. For a veteran without it, that fee on a subsequent use loan can be 3.3%, which on a bigger loan is real thousands. The disability rating quietly made this one of the cheapest ways Marcus can borrow.
But before anyone gets excited, $84,000 is what the tool can do, not what it should do. The same receipt that looks like a windfall is also the moment Marcus turned the bank into a lien holder on his house. That is the catch, and it is next. Here is the catch, and it is the most important sentence in this video. A cash-out refinance takes debt that is not tied to your home and ties it to your home. Pay off a credit card with it, and that card balance is now secured by the roof over your family.
I want to make that concrete because it sounds abstract. If you fall behind on a credit card, the worst case is your credit score takes a hit and a collector calls. If you fall behind on this loan, the worst case is foreclosure. Same dollars, completely different stakes.
And there is a second, quieter cost. If you bought or last refinanced when rates were low, a cash out throws away that low rate on your whole balance. You are not borrowing $40,000 at today's rate, you are repricing your entire mortgage at today's rate. That can dwarf the interest you thought you were saving.
So a veteran needs to see this next to the alternatives, not in a vacuum. Let me lay the three real options side by side, because for some people cash out is exactly right, and for others it is the wrong tool.
Here is how they actually stack up on the numbers that decide it. Look at the rate row first. In June 2026, a HELOC averages about 7.25%, close to a mortgage. A personal loan averages just over 12%. So if the need is small, a HELOC borrows only what you use and leaves your cheap first mortgage untouched.
And the personal loan, even at 12%, has one thing the cash out does not. It cannot take your house. For a veteran with a shaky income or a short-term need, paying a higher rate to keep the home off the table is a perfectly rational trade.
So here is my verdict, and I am going to commit to it. The cash out wins for one specific veteran. You have a big, one-time planned need, a major home repair, a high-interest debt load you can truly retire, you have stable income, and you are not throwing away a rock-bottom rate to get it. Kim, you have the obvious follow-up, so put it to me.
Yes, and it is the flip side of that. Who should pick a HELOC or a personal loan instead of cash out?
The one with a small or uncertain need, the one sitting on a 3% first mortgage they would have to surrender, or the one whose income is not rock solid. For them, keeping the house off the collateral line is worth the higher rate. Honest answer, it depends. And now you know exactly what it depends on.
So you have decided it fits. Here's exactly how to do it without getting burned, in order, because the order is where people stumble. 5 steps, and the first one stops more applications than any other.
Step 1 is seasoning, and it is a calendar rule, not a money rule. Before you can do a VA cash out, you generally need 6 consecutive monthly payments made and at least 210 days passed since your first payment came due. Apply too early and you are stopped at the door no matter how good your numbers are.
Let me walk the qualifying path the way a lender actually checks it, because it is a yes or no chain. Walk the chain with me. Do you have a certificate of eligibility? Are you past the seasoning window? Does your credit and income clear the bar? And does the home appraise high enough to free the cash you want? 4 yeses, and you are through.
And that certificate of eligibility is the one document people overthink. Let me show you the actual page. On va.gov, you go to Request a Home Loan Certificate of Eligibility, you sign in and you click Request a COE right there.
And that same page does more than request it. It lets you find a COE you already have and download it, or check the status of a request. If you would rather not do it yourself, the lender pulls it electronically in seconds, or you mail VA Form 26, 1880. 3 doors to the same document.
Step 3 and 4 are the underwriting, and this is the real difference from the IRRRL. You will get a full appraisal and you will document income and credit. There is no skipping it. So have your pay stubs, your tax returns, and your bank statements ready before you start, and the 40 to 55 day timeline shrinks.
Step 5 is the one that protects you. Make the lender show you the net tangible benefit in writing. The VA requires every cash out to clear a real benefit test, and a good lender will hand you a worksheet proving the refinance actually helps you. If they will not put it on paper, that is your answer about that lender.
And shop it. Genuinely shop it. We said the VA allows up to 100%, but lenders cap their own number. That cap and the rate swing thousands of dollars between lenders for the exact same veteran. 3 quotes is not paranoia, it is the move that pays for itself.
One mistake to name out loud because it is the costly one. Do not roll a short-term debt into a 30-year loan and pat yourself on the back. You can cut the rate and still pay more total interest by stretching 5-year debt across 3 decades. If you consolidate, push to keep the payoff timeline tight.
If you remember one thing, remember this. The cash out is the only key the VA gives you to your own equity, and a disabled veteran turns it for free. But the same loan that frees $84,000 also puts your home on the line, so use it for a big planned need you can carry, and never for a want you could not otherwise afford.
Here is what you do tonight. Before you ever say yes, make the lender show you the net cash after payoff and costs side by side with a HELOC and a personal loan. If cash out still wins on that one page, it is your tool, and now you can demand that page.
And send this to any veteran you know who is sitting on a paid-down house and $20,000 of credit card debt, because this is the exact move they have never heard of. Next time we climb one rung over into the VA loan benefit most veterans forget they can reuse, and the math on restoring your entitlement surprises almost everyone.
Before you go, one for the comments. If you could pull $84,000 of equity at VA terms tomorrow, would you actually do it? And what is the one thing you would put it toward?
One last thing before we sign off. If you are getting real value from these, a like and a subscribe is the best way to support the work. That is exactly what grows the series and keeps these episodes coming. This is Emma. Thanks for watching and signing off.